Hey, what's going on, good people? It's your boy, Coach Dino. I'm here. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the emotional intelligence course that's coming out, EQ24. It's, weeks away from us actually doing the live coaching course online. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to launching it as a solo course to really get into the depths of emotional intelligence and what it has the ability to do for you. Really is beyond what most people are, what you're researching online, right? And so on the web page that we have, one of the first things that we talk about is the inner voice. Some people refer to it as the inner critic, voice of reason, considerations. I've heard quite a few different names utilized in the transformative space, for that voice. And there's always a voice. There's always, I believe we all have it. There's, in my mind, there's no way to literally get around it because it's attached to emotion, thought to feeling, feeling to thought, and it all coming together. And so we talk about the inner voice and what that inner voice has the ability to do. For one, I can attest to the inner voice and what it has the ability to do simply because, like you, beginning of the year, I've started out, putting some things out, and it's like inner voice might say, "Hey, this is not good enough." Inner voice might say, you don't know what you're doing. Whatever it is that the inner voice, tells you. My inner voice is like, "We can do better." Um, the price is, too high. This is too low. This is not good enough, and you're not good enough. And inner voice is inner voice, right? You're going to get it every time. I remember someone saying this a while ago. Uh, One of my pastors in church said, every time you get ready to do something for yourself, the enemy starts talking to you. Enemy starts speaking to you. And it's, inner voice, right? Every time you get ready to do something for yourself, your inner voice starts talking to you and telling you what you can and what you cannot do. And in some cases, I'm not saying it's always negative. In some cases, it's very positive. But then, you're looking at it right today. We're 2 weeks into the new year and 2024, and you've planned some things. You haven't made any resolutions, but you more so made declarations to yourself. And inside of those declarations to yourself, life shows up. And with life showing up, you're saying, okay, let me push this back because I need to do this. Let me push that back because I don't have that. And I need to do better with this, that, whatever the reasons are, right? Push it back is the theme, right? Don't do it is the theme. You don't have is the theme. And when it comes to EQ24 and how we're doing how we're delivering our emotional intelligence, because does emotional intelligence, the basics cover that? Not to my knowledge. And we've been doing emotional intelligence almost 20 years. Doesn't cover that, right? Doesn't cover, it does cover brain functioning, but it doesn't get into the levels of brain functioning that actually uh, stifle your behavior, your performance, your thinking, your level of execution, to whereas you're into a cycle of producing absolutely nothing. It's like going back to scratch. And so the inner voice conversation is huge. And if it's anything that I was able to take away from this last session that we did inside of the accountability group. We have an accountability group. Individuals come, they're going to be accountable, for whatever it is that they're supposed to do. But we did some fundamental work inside of that. And emotional intelligence was part of the fundamental work that we did inside of that. And what we were able to show individuals, whether they actually saw it, whether they caught on to it, some people were able to embrace it, some people still found trouble with it, was in that process of inner voice conversation, there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity for you to switch that. There is an opportunity for you to tame that. There is an opportunity for you to change that. The thing that I love about it is that when you're really into, emotional intelligence, and there's a high level, we all have emotional intelligence, but when your level is high in emotional intelligence, there are times when you can see your mistake, the mistake before you choose the mistake. I'm gonna say that again. You see the mistake before you choose the mistake. And it's a real quick process. And when I say mistake, before you choose the mistake, it's almost like before you choose to quit, before you choose to go back, before you choose to go into the cycle, it identifies itself prior to. And it's because you're paying close attention to, especially around this particular topic, you're paying close attention to how you feel and the thoughts around those feelings. And when it comes to being able to impact individuals' lives based around this, and how do you teach that, right? How do you teach that? I think we've been blessed and fortunate to be able to teach that, to be able to know exactly what the other components are when it comes to increasing your level of emotional intelligence, exactly like what you need. These are the basics. These are the fundamentals to emotional intelligence. Let's just say if you had EQ on a level 1 through 10, right? That although we go through the introduction of what emotional intelligence is, we talk about, mental conditioning and so forth, getting you from a level 1 or going through the process of level 1 all the way through. This part normally kicks in at around level 5, at a level 5. And now you're about to go into 6 to 7 to 8 into 9 and even further based on what you've learned at level 5 and level 4 and level 3 that's going to really truly impact your life. And so I know for a fact that I have, I know my partner has as well, put a great deal of time and effort into, the course, into, facilitating the course, teaching the course, coaching the course, because, and, it's live because people need this certain pieces of information right now. You need it right now. One of the things that we know about brain functioning and memory and all of this is that if I'm online taking a course and I'm looking at a video or I'm reading through some material, and then something comes up and I have a question, and I might have to email a question, or maybe I don't even have an opportunity to ask the question. That point that you have, you can write it down, which is probably the best thing to do. It's almost like writing it down is your last attempt to really save what it is. Because if you don't write it down, the chances of you being able to get back to that question, that exact feeling and thought, to whereas this is where you wanted to go with it once you had the answer, that is probably lost forever, or at least until that that situation or that opportunity comes back up and emotional memory kicks in. And so emotional intelligence is a very huge piece. And again, we started on the webpage with the inner critic, with the inner voice, with the consideration piece, right? That voice that you have working inside of you that has the ability to derail everything, but it also has the ability to motivate you, to keep you moving forward, for you to be able to have those conversations and say, hey, I'm taking me and this, project or this goal or this vision to the next level. I'm going to be able to accomplish these things inside, which I say that I want to accomplish, and I'm going to make these things happen for me. And so that's what, to me, the real strength and impact that this emotional intelligence course, EQ24, has. And we're calling it EQ24, right? Emotional intelligence, they say EI, which is emotional intelligence. And that's just what it is. It's a thing, emotional intelligence. However, emotional quotient or EQ has levels to it. Like, just like IQ, what's your IQ? And then you give a number. right? What's your EQ? And then you're able to give a number. So it's measured. And along, or should I say inside of that measuring, there are answers. There are consistent answers. This is what works. This is what isn't working. This is what has the potential to work if I do some other things. And so when you're talking about negative inner voice conversations, you're talking about moments of anxiety. You talk about moments of self-worth, inadequacy. It's inside of there that the inner voice is literally like it's winning. It knows what to say. It knows how to get to you. It knows you. It's a part of you. It knows exactly how to get to you in order to derail everything else that you're doing, everything else that you're talking about. And so as you scroll through these pages and you read the information that we have, talking about self-esteem, we're talking about fear, we're talking about procrastination, we're talking about rumination and abandonment. Like, you have these things, whether it be that they come from the past or these are some of the feelings that you've been feeling based on your life and the conditioning that you have. It's like that inner voice has the ability to pull those things up, and those things resurface, and again, literally stagnate you from being able to do what you want to do, to be who you are, to accomplish those things that you need to accomplish, especially in the things that you care about more so often, right? And it's the thing that everybody wants to know: how does it affect me in relationships? How does it affect me in relationships? So again, if you kind of scroll down the page, you're going to see that there is a component there that we're talking about: emotionally intelligent men, emotionally intelligent couples, and emotionally intelligent women. And these are some of their behaviors. And you're talking about getting to a point inside of emotional intelligence. And this is it's a high level. It's a high level. And, it's one of those things, like, some people have things that other people haven't nurtured and grown yet. And then, and some people don't. Some people are better at certain things than they are at other things. And it's not that these individuals, I mean, they are special to a degree because they've been able to tap into something and achieve without having to worry about the other stuff that a majority of people have, right? They have to worry about, that they have to look to, that they have to listen to. Some people have learned how to conquer the inner voice, right? But because they've learned how to conquer the inner voice doesn't mean that they've learned how to conquer their conditioning. And so when we categorize emotionally intelligent women and men and then couples, we went through this process at a higher level, at probably about a 7. So you're talking about individuals who have done inner work. They've done, work based on their mental conditioning, based on some of their past. And again, it's not one of those intrusive things where we want, you need to know everything about your past and this is the reason why you are, how you are. This might be the reason why you think and how you feel about some of the things that you think and feel about. However, they don't have to be the end all be all to you not being the individual that you're striving to become. These are just things that now you need to put in proper perspective, do the work that needs to be done to these things and for these things so that you can change the narrative around these things and continue to, move and build forward. And so when you're talking about emotionally intelligent men, when you're talking about emotionally intelligent women and what happens with these individuals, I've heard individuals, kind of brag about, for lack of a better term, that they intimidate people. I've heard women like, to them, that's the thing, I intimidate people. I intimidate people. And my question is, at what level of people are you intimidating? At what level of people are you intimidating? It's easy to become intimidated. Very easy. Self-esteem. Self-esteem is situational. If you're a good cook and you're in the kitchen, your self-esteem is super high. But if you're under the hood of a car, your self-esteem is low because you don't know what you're doing. So self-esteem is situational. And so when you talk about, or people talk about, excuse me, they talk about intimidating people, and women say, "Hey, I intimidate all the men that I meet." Well, the type of man that you're meeting is probably, it is intimidated, whether it be for education, whether it be for communication style, whether it be based on, look and design and who they are and how they feel about themselves. Yes, those individuals would definitely be intimidated. But how about intimidating a dude that is, on the same level as you are? You're not going to intimidate that guy. Same thing for the guys. A woman who is on the same level as you're on, you're not going to intimidate her. She's not intimidated by you. As a matter of fact, she's interested in you because you seem to be that mirror image. And so for my people who enjoy this intimidating thing, all I'm saying is, when you intimidate these people, these around dating and relationship and even business sometimes, right? What pool are you in? What pool are you swimming in? You're swimming in the pool with the individuals who may not be on your level in regards to these things, or may not be on your level in regards to these things. But if you get into the pool of individuals that are on the level that you're on, there will be no intimidation. As a matter of fact, if you get into the pool of individuals who are above where you are, not only will you be intimidated, but you're going to find it very difficult to have conversations with some of them. And the reason, I know that to be a fact, because what you know and what they know are two different things. What you're able to do and what they're able to do are two different things. What you've done and what they've done in life are two very different things. I remember my man from Earn Your Leisure. He was like, you're in a room and there's a conversation going on about $1 billion mindset. What's the $1 billion mindset? If you haven't reached that level of finances, that's a conversation that you don't even want to participate in. You might want to ask some questions, but you don't really want to participate in them because you don't know what it feels like to have $1 billion. You don't know what it feels like to have $1 million. You don't know what it's like to be in a healthy relationship. You don't know what it's like to be married. You don't understand what it's like to be a man. You don't understand what it's like to be a woman. And so, and even inside of this, we're placing titles and names on individuals. It's almost like we're diagnosing individuals and we don't have the credentials and the ability to diagnose anyone. There's a lot of negative talk out here about, men being narcissistic. And most women would be like, well, they are narcissistic. Well, how much do you know about a narcissist or narcissism in order for you to be able to diagnose this individual as a narcissist, as a misogynist? Oh, because I heard some things. Just because you heard some things, right, doesn't necessarily mean that this is the intention that this individual was coming from, that this is the perspective that this individual was coming from. And perhaps it is, and perhaps it isn't. But, three things you can't tell a person is what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and what their intentions are. You can't do that. And so, individuals are out here, misclassifying and individuals as being something that they're not. And always, in my opinion, is if you're willing to classify an individual on something just because of one behavior, just based on something that, may have happened, a person is a lie, he's a lie, he's a lie, he's a lie. Well, he's a liar. Doesn't necessarily classify him as being a narcissist, doesn't necessarily classify him as being an evil individual. It's just that he hasn't matured to the degree where the truth means something to him, where the truth, he's able to stand on the truth and what it means. It just means he's a liar. Doesn't necessarily mean all the other things. Just because you see me drinking 4 days out of the week doesn't mean that I'm an alcoholic. You understand what I'm saying? And so there's so much kind of going on, and a lot of it is inaccurate. A lot of it isn't helpful. A lot of it isn't going to move you into having a healthy relationship. One thing I can say about emotional intelligent people is they attract emotionally intelligent people simply because you could listen to somebody for a few minutes and pretty much, gauge where they are in that level of emotional intelligence. If you watch someone or, you're around someone for a little while and you're like, hey, every time this type of thing comes up, this is the reaction that this person gives, it pretty much leads you to believe that, they may not be as strong. Their level of emotional intelligence may not be that high. They may not be versed or learned in this particular part of life, which is, it's cool. Malcolm X said to be a criminal is not a disgrace. To remain a criminal is a disgrace, right? And so it's like, something's wrong, but you do nothing to repair it. You do nothing to fix it. And that which in itself is a disgrace. It's failing to live up to, to the expectation or the standard that you have set for your life. Everyone has that vision of them and who they are inside of their mind. It's that conversation, it's that inner voice. It's when it's happy, it's when it's imagining, when it's being creative, when it's envisioning things. And now you have to bring those things into reality, and you don't want to do it. You would rather be in a dream state. Funny thing, and I'm learning this about Cat Williams, which I thought was huge. Brother's pretty smart. His vocabulary is definitely large, and he understands things. To a degree, I would say that he's been playing the sheep for a long time. Just kind of listening and watching and paying attention and learning, engaging, and seeing these things. And then, he decided that, he was going to speak out about some things. You know what I mean? Now, and I'm not really into that, but I am into the intellectual part. I am into the part in which he said to be confident and not delusional is a real skill. To be confident and not delusional is a real skill. And there's a lot of people that, that may be confident, but they may not be living a realistic lifestyle. They may not be fully living, between the mind and what they have. Excuse me. It may not be realistic. It may not be real. And even when you're talking about being a visionary, and I consider myself to be a visionary, even when you're talking about being a visionary, you're having these visions about what you want to do with your business, what you want to do with your life, and now you have to bring these things into fruition. One of the things that you're going to have to face inside of that is reality. What do I have the ability to do? What do I do not have the ability to do? What are the resources? How much do I need? What are the people? Who are the people? And how am I going to be able to execute this thing and get this thing and turn it into, a tangible, asset? Sometimes people who don't understand ownership. I bumped into individuals who do not understand ownership. And it's really, really difficult because they don't understand ownership. And so having a conversation with them that is really geared or rooted inside of ownership is useless until they understand ownership. There are some people who don't understand entrepreneurship. And it's all fine. You live the life that you want to live. Excuse me. But my piece is that you could have the life that you're living inside of your mind if you put some work in, if you understood some things, especially if you understood some things about you and what you're doing and how you're moving and how you show up and how you're responding and how you're making other people feel and how you feel and how you can fix those things and communicate those things and not really, believe in so many of the misnomers that are out. There are people who inside of relationships believe in compromise. I don't believe in compromise inside of a relationship. It's to count. It's to, okay, you give me one, I'll give you one later. And I'm coming for that. I'm coming for the one that you said that you're going to give it to me later. And so does that really work? What happens when you come for the one that you are owed, yet I don't feel like giving it to you in this moment? Now somebody is feeling, a particular kind of way. So I don't believe in compromise inside of a relationship. The other thing is most people think that communication is the biggest thing inside of a relationship. I don't believe that communication is the biggest thing inside of a, why won't you communicate? Communicate with me. Talk to me. I can talk to you all day long. Watch this, right? But if you don't understand me, then what's the sense of me even speaking to you? I'm speaking to you. I'm giving it to you, but you don't understand me. And this is something, just a hard piece right here. Let me tell you, this EQ24 is something else, right? You're a product of your own understanding, and you're not going any further than that. So what you don't understand is not coming your way. Let that sit for a minute. You're a product of your own understanding. So what you don't understand is not coming your way. It's not coming your way. You're not going any further than that which you are able to understand. That means if you're unable to understand you, to know how you operate, to know how you function, to know how you really deal, anything outside of that is either it's not coming your way or it's not going to last. We look at relationships all the time, and relationships shouldn't be robotic. You know what I mean? When you're talking about emotional intelligence inside of a relationship, it's not robotic. It's a song, it's a dance, it's chemistry, it's synchrony. It's flow state. It's flow state all day long. Can you imagine flow state all day long? And I'm not saying that you don't have challenges. I'm not saying that things don't arise. I'm not saying that you don't have disagreements. I'm saying, but that's a conversation. That's a conversation. It's some expression. You go back sometimes. You move over here first, and then you fall back on it. You think about it. You come back, and you say, "Hey, babe. Hey, babe." People inside a relationship sometimes don't even understand that if there are rules and regulations that you can place inside of your relationship, because it's your relationship. You can do what you want with it. You can place some rules and regulations inside of the relationship that prevent certain things from happening, that keep things at a minimum so they don't get out of control. You know, and it's all a part of EQ. And here's the thing: if I'm living EQ, right, I'm at a level 7, and my partner is at a level 5. There are things that my partner's going to learn just because I'm leading by example, because I am the best example of what's going on here and how to manage myself emotionally. And as they continue to get it and they continue to grow, we continue to grow. So the conversation around, sex or not having sex isn't so uncomfortable. The conversation around love and not feeling loved isn't so uncomfortable. The conversation around, finances isn't so uncomfortable. Let me tell you, and I've seen people inside of the work, people who are enthusiasts, they love personal development, love transformation, and I've seen them, do and say some things, and I'm like, whoa, no emotional intelligence. Because when you really look at it, right, who's really teaching emotional intelligence? Where's emotional intelligence really being delivered? Exactly where it was developed, corporate America. And here's the thing, right? And I've seen some people who think like, oh, I got it. You ain't got it. Here's my thing. If you're in a conversation, right, about transformation, right? Let's just say we're having a transformative conversation, and you're talking about people, places, and things, pretty much from my perspective, I already know you didn't do the work. You didn't do no work, because in the transformation space, when you're supposed to keep it on the eye. But if you're talking about other people, places, and things, and it's sounding, real smart, you might have done some reading, you might have done some research, but you haven't done the work. When you've done the work, you're going to talk about what this did for you. That's a given. How it worked for me, how I understood it, how I understand it, what it did for me. And then you have those individuals, from that being a second, you have those other individuals that are just super excited about sharing what they know and what they've learned, but also learning something else. We did a questionnaire. I think it's on the page somewhere. You do the questionnaire, and one of the questions on the questionnaire was, did you learn anything about yourself during this questionnaire? And, and some individuals said yes, and some individuals said no. And you're saying to yourself, well, maybe, everything that you asked them, they knew things about. Or maybe they just superficially went through the questionnaire in order to be able to halfway get some answers, then they're not going to do anything with in the first place. I learn from myself, I would say, seriously, on a weekly basis. Doesn't make me no guru, no superstar, no icon. I expect to learn. I can't stop it. I love it. It's a part of me. It's a part of the human design. The body is designed to grow. So I have to grow. If there's something going on, I have to address it. It might take me a minute to get to it, Excuse me. I went through what they call cyclical depression. I went through it was a storm. It wasn't even the season. But it was a part of a cycle. And cyclical depression around grief. 6 years ago, I lost my two best friends. I lost my wife and my dad. And so that level of depression, it hit me hard this last year. Had me like in a zone where I've never felt it like that before in my life. And after a while, because I'm one who believes in sometimes you have to let certain things run its course, right? That's how you get the experience of it. That's how you learn how to fight it. That's how you learn how to deal with it. And when it got to a point, 45 days in, I'm like, okay, you got to go. This is it. I have things I need to do. And so I reached out to some people. I didn't just start putting it out there on social media and talking to anybody. I spoke to individuals who are definitely experts in their field and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. I know what I need. I can't give it to myself. What do you think about this process? What do you think about that process? What do you think about these processes that other people have gone through? They made some suggestions. I took one of the suggestions. I also instituted some grief counseling, put that into motion. I'm on 120 right now. Besides the fact I'm just getting over a cold, I'm on 120 right now. And in much better control of that entire cyclical depression piece. You know what I mean? Does it control me the way that it once controlled me? Absolutely not. Does it have the ability to come back and slap me around? Absolutely. But now I have things in place to where I can institute those things and it won't be so intense. It won't hold me for so long. It won't be so deep. You know what I mean? And that's just because you got to know what you're doing with you. And I only use that as an example, right? Because who better than you to understand you? My mentor says, change is a formidable task. You have to overcome you. You got to overcome yourself. And so if you have to overcome yourself in any area, one of the best ways to do it is to know who you are. Emotional intelligence, the starting five: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, social awareness. Watch this, right? That's not it. That's not everything. That's based on, the corporate model and leadership and what you want the workers to do and all that other stuff. That's not it. That's not everything. What about brain functioning? What about conditioning? What about beliefs and values? What about the human basic needs? What about those things? How do I help? How do those things play a part? And what do they do? Does it have an impact? Absolutely. Absolutely. What does that mean? How can I get stronger in that? EQ24. This course is a beast. I'm telling you, I did the retreats. I wrote the retreats. Emotional intelligence is in it. Accountability group, emotional intelligence is in it. Everything that we've ever done has emotional intelligence in it because it's the glue. It's the glue to everything else. Manage your emotions, manage your ability to be self-aware, to self-regulate, and then to motivate yourself, to be able to get out of those dark situations. If you're an introvert, right, your inner voice is on 12 all the time. If you're an introvert, your inner voice is crazy. Watch this, right? Let's just say, y'all bear with me and give me some grace. Let's just say you're an introvert who has had a rough family life growing up. If you look at it on a whole, it was, you lived in fear. And then introvert in school growing up, kindergarten through college, you were kind of bullied and, people just kind of picked on you and so on and so forth. And you kind of lived that in fear. If you calculate family life and school life all the way up from baby, toddler, to college, 21, and it's just an example. And all of that was around, you being, picked on and not abused or anything, but just picked on and always scared to, you didn't have the right to speak and this, that, and the other. And, you've gone deeper and deeper into yourself. You're talking about 21, 22 years of you constantly living in fear, constantly living inside of this shell, right? Now, you want to come out, but you're talking about 22 years of living inside of the shell, 22 years of listening to your inner voice, that probably the inner critic, the inner lawyer, the inner this, the inner that, just everything. That doesn't put you in a place of poor mental health. Just puts you in a place. Positive mental health is the ability to be able to handle stress and how well are you, responsible to that. And that's not verbatim. So you practitioners don't jump up and down and throw your hands out. We're having a conversation here. You're talking about 20 some odd years of living in fear, or living feeling like you're inadequate, or living in anxiety. That's a deep process to move away from, to break away from. But change is a formidable task. You have to overcome you. That's the work. That's the work that's showing up. That's the work that moves you to freedom. That's the work. And if you don't want to do the work, then you continue to live your life how you continue to live your life. But if you choose to do the work, to get inside of it, and as you become free, you become like, there's a whole piece to that. There's a whole feeling for that. that's that's the one of the most impactful things I think that could ever happen to a human being. Gaining freedom inside. It's just a beautiful thing. And so, you know, EQ24 is definitely not a replacement for therapy. I've recommended people for therapy or at the retreat. There was a young lady there, and I was like, listen, um, what I believe that you need in order for you to be the individual that you need to become or you want to become is beyond the scope of my ability. And this is what I suggest. And I've had conversations with therapists and so forth, to whereas if I need to refer you to somebody, I'm going to refer you. I have no problem with doing that. Emotional intelligence is definitely not a replacement for therapy. As a matter of fact, it's complementary to therapy. And so, some people like, I'm going to therapy and, but I need something else. I'm going to therapy, watch this. I'm going to therapy, but my progress isn't being measured. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But if you're not able to measure your progress, how do you know you're getting better? That's why it's so funny too, right? Education you can trust, results you can measure, performance you can measure, progress you can measure. There's got to be some measurables. How do you know it's working? Key performance indicators. How do you know it's working? How do you know we're doing what we're supposed to be doing? How do you know it's happening for you? Oh, you kind of get to see it? You need to be able to measure it and track your measurement. Just like when you're running, when you're racing, you're trying to beat the 4-minute mile or whatever, or 1-minute mile, whatever they call it. And you're doing it and you're doing it and you're overtime and you're overtime and you're overtime and you keep clocking yourself and clocking yourself. And then one day you clock it and you're like, bam, I'm there. I've sped up in this process. I've learned how to run this mile in a minute or 4 minutes or whatever that unbreakable barrier was that so many other people are doing now. I think it was Manute Bol said he trained all his life for 9 seconds. 9 seconds. Boxers, the elites, putting in the work. Kobe Bryant, my man. Kobe had a saying about the shots. You don't do 1,000 shots. I'm going to mess it up, so I ain't even going to say it, but I'm going to give you another piece that's even just as powerful. You don't practice till you get it right. You practice until you can't get it wrong. Practice until you can't get it wrong. And in the process of not getting it wrong is because emotional intelligence, and I mentioned this earlier, because you see the mistake. You see the choice that you're about to make is not the best choice that you can make. When you know things, when you know different things, your choices change. At this level, these are the choices that you had. But you're at this level now of knowing, and especially knowing you. Your choices change. EQ24. I think the greatest thing about it is right now, you could get the course for $1,400. You could get the whole course for $1,400. $1,400 gives you the exact whole course. Now we got the do-it-yourself piece. That's going to be like $1,000. It's going to be recordings and work. Y'all want to do that? Feel free. You shy. You don't want to be on the Zoom, and y'all know Focus Zooms are different. It's not that Zoom that you just kind of turn on and go on about your business. Because we've learned in the process, because people have taught us that doesn't matter whether when you pay attention. Some people pay and still don't pay attention. Our thing is be present because you have access to one-on-one coaching. And with access to one-on-one coaching, the last thing that we do inside of one-on-one coaching is repeat the lesson. And so you get the lesson. And then inside of the process, you get the one-on-one coaching that's really, really specific and you know, the glove fit for yourself. But you're going to do the work. You have to have the work done. You're not just going to get the one-on-one. You're just going to stroll through it and then read through the material, breeze through it, and you know, you're doing your hair and everything while you're on the Zoom, and then, you know, every other week you need a one-on-one session. We're not doing that. And so you can get it right now, $1,400. That price lasts until Saturday. So we're doing it for 5 days. That's a 5-day piece. The actual course is what is it? $4,400 and some odd dollars. I think it's 4,440, or might be 4,400, but it's over there somewhere. The actual course is going to come with the whole. We have an emotional self-care guide that's tailored for you, based on where you are, based on what you're doing. We have a whole emotional planner setting you up. It's a blueprint setting you up and getting you prepared. You know, you want to go higher than that and get into the life work section. You got the accountability group. Like, there's so many different opportunities, but just for EQ24 for 5 days, $1,400. Giving you a shot. I'm gonna tell you why we're giving you a shot. Because y'all know me, I don't do no discounts. It's too much value inside. The only reason why I'm taking responsibility for this, it's coming out of my pocket. The only reason why we're doing this $1,400 piece, number one, we're only doing 30 seats. We're only doing 30 seats for live coaching. Other than that, you got to get on a wait list. We're doing 30 seats. That's number one. Number two, inflation. I respect it. I respect it. I know food is high, gas is high, this is that. I get it. I get it. My food is high. My gas is high. I get it. I see inflation. And I'm saying, okay, if you really want it, because I understand the value of the course, if you really want it, buy it. It's at $1,400 right now. Other than that, right? Let your procrastinative tendencies kick in. It'll be where it's supposed to be. And me, I want 30, excuse me, I want 30 people in the class anyway. But if only 10 of y'all get it for $1,400, I'm fine with that. Why? Because I put it out there for you. I gave you the opportunity. You just didn't take advantage of the opportunity. And then you say, well, I'm not doing it. Okay. This is what I've learned about emotions. You either deal with your emotions or your emotions deal with you. This is what I've learned about life. You deal with life or life is going to deal with you. This is what I learned about transformation. You're either going to be proactive or reactive. You're either going to deal with you or you're going to deal with you. I might have said that wrong, but y'all get the point. Maybe looking at me crazy, laughing at me. But this piece is the piece, man. This piece is the piece. Why did it take us so long to put it online? Because we had it everywhere else. It was already everywhere else. And one of the only reasons why we're putting it online is because, in my opinion, people are making mistakes, bigger mistakes, right? Now you're talking about emotional intelligence and relationships in regard to how can I control other people? How can I use this emotional intelligence on other people? It's not about other people. It's about you. Because watch this, right? If I use my magic on an individual that is magic proof, don't matter how much magic I have, that individual's not going to get it because they're magic proof. It's just not going to happen. So you can have a super high level of EQ. You deal with an individual whose level isn't that high, and it will be toxic. It's going to be toxic. And you want to try to fix the toxic person. There's a saying, that person will get you drunk before you get them sober. And so emotional intelligence is about you. And you know what? I got another slick message out here, right? I've been in business 15 years, and I'm not for everybody. And I know that there's individuals who we may not have always agreed on particular things, right? We may not have always agreed. I don't think that I've been disrespectful. I don't believe that you've been disrespectful because, I'm not one to block people. You know what I mean? I will because I'm like, I don't need the noise. But I'm not one to block people. I'm not even one to engage into confrontation with people because I love to laugh. I want things to be mad smooth. Well, let me say this and y'all know who you are. I don't know who you are. I just know every once in a while I see some eyes peeking up from around, from behind the rock, from around the building. I see some people peeking around. Yo, I don't have no qualm against you. Come get the course. Get the information you need. You should not be feeling any kind of way because you got to come back and see me. I might have diagnosed you with some stuff. I might have, forecasted some stuff on you. And now you like, damn, I got to come back, to square one. That happens sometimes. When you're ahead of the game sometimes, that's what happens. I've had individuals that I had, disagreements with, and they break out, boom. And then they come back later and be like, yo, bro. And I'm like, yo, and they'll tell you real life, I don't even bring that stuff up. That's not who I am. I don't care about that. I don't care. Watch this, right? Whatever you may have thought happened, it didn't change my life, nor did it change your life. We both were able to live life in which we were supposed to live. And if you have something that I need and I feel that, I'm comfortable with coming back and being like, yo, listen, I'm coming to get this piece, baby. Let me in. Here's my money. So I'm saying, don't let that deter you. And that's just for, I could say a select group of people. I'm just putting it out there because I know that sometimes people feel a certain kind of way, even though you may not. And this is what it is. I feel no type of way. I harbor no feelings. This has been me since young. I harbor no feelings. If we had a disagreement or I might have said something out of line and you didn't tell me, like, yo, D, that was a little rough or whatever, what have you. I mean, I don't know. I don't set out to, hurt individuals. If I step on your toe, that's one thing. But I don't set out to offend people. I'm a coach. I'm part of transformation. I'm supposed to step on your toes. Even with that piece I just released, I'm supposed to say that. Because my job is to get you to focus, become free of challenges undermining success. That's my purpose. That's my job. I don't have time for that other stuff. I'm not going to allow yesterday to hold tomorrow hostage. That's not who I am. That's not what I do. I'm a real, I don't want to say I'm a real Christian. I'm a Christian. I forgive people. I forgive you as soon as you said it. You'll know if I didn't forgive you because, chances are, if I didn't check you right then and there, it meant absolutely nothing to me. And so with that, I'm going to let this thing go. EQ24. Excuse me. Coming over cold, man. Sometimes you just got to stay away from people, man. You just got to be in a house and stay in the house and don't let nobody in the house. And EQ24, you got 5 days from the 19th to the 20th or the 19th at 11:59 to get it for $1,400. And that's based on inflation. And that's it. After that, and I'm only taking 30 people. I'm only doing 30 people this Thursday. And I'm going to have to change this video because I'm putting all these dates in it, right? This Thursday, we got the EQ piece online, free. We're talking about dating and relationships, the Focus Empowerment Series 2024. You already missed the definition of emotional intelligence. You already missed, or watch this. We already did the definition, emotional intelligence defined. We already did mental conditioning, and we already did technology and social media. Now we get ready to lay this dating and relationship down. I got my partner coming in. Desiree is coming in. She's going to be with us. Definitely the women need to hear that female voice telling them the same thing that I'm telling them, but just from a different perspective, because they understand each other. You know what I mean? But at the same time, and ladies, hear me when I say this, right? Don't shy away because it's a man's voice on the other end. Guys, don't shy away because there's a woman's voice on the other end. We need to get back to learning how to communicate with one another, how to listen to one another, how to respect one another, how to love on one another, how to appreciate each other, how to give each other flowers and different things like this. You've never seen me do a course that is for women and men. Although we might break some segments up. We've actually had married couples that we sent to different rooms in order to learn, so that when they come back together, that enhancement is just, that thing is just that much more powerful. It's crazy. But you've never seen me break people up. Beautiful men and women, man, we need each other. It's about interacting with each other, growing together. And I'm not knocking. And the women that I know that just work with women, I beef to all of them. You're a home wrecker. That's what I tell them. You're a home wrecker. You're messing up the culture. Why would you give it to the woman and not give it to the man? They together. If they already together in the household, or they planning on coming together in the household, how could you educate and empower one and not the other? That makes no sense to me. However, I do understand that women need their space sometimes, and men need their space sometimes. But we're not going to separate people. We're not going to displace people. We're not doing that. I don't believe in that. We're not doing that. So with that, EQ24, I'm just warming up. And I'm going to say this part the way I want to. I know I probably got some Christian friends who are going to disagree with this. This shit is fire. It's fire. Emotional intelligence, the course. I thought it was good with the stuff that we was already giving people, which is basically it. Nah, man. The bag goes deeper. The bag goes deeper. So again, you got 5 days, 1,400. Good luck. Hope you know what I mean? Hope you got it. And, payment gateways, I got a piece. You don't have to do the online piece because we don't have the online thing set up for 1,400. You got to come directly through me so I know who's coming. Or you could, you could Zelle the money, you could Cash App the money, or you could PayPal a piece. But at the end of the day, it's not about, anything else other than you getting better and me getting better, because I learn from this stuff too. I get better because I'm constantly going over it and over it and over it and over it. And I just want to see people win. So with that, I love you guys. Take it easy, enjoy. And EQ24, get it so you can not just, get better yourself, but that you have the ability to Again, the biggest part of life, one of the biggest parts of life, excuse me, is achievement. You want to be able to achievement. People, commit suicide because there is no achievement. Achievement is huge. So let's get it together. With that, I'm out. Love you guys. Enjoy, and I'll be back with another video, I guess, sooner or later. All right, peace.